What is it, Mr Chairman, about the Labor Party and the Green Party that they do not want New Zealand's children to learn in school? What is it about those two parties that mean that time after time after time in this House, when education is being debated, they get on their feet and they seek to defend the indefensible? Why is it that those parties, Mr Chairman, do not want children to learn? Why is it, Mr Chairman, that they are so ready to get to their feet to defend and advocate on behalf of a very narrow sector in education? Well, I need to tell those parties, Mr Chairman, that this budget and this government recognise that there is more to education than a couple of teacher unions and a few selfish sector groups. Education is much more about children and their parents than it is about the groups that the side opposite choose to advocate for. This is a budget, Mr Chairman, this is a budget that will spend $12 billion on education this financial year. $12 billion. That is an increase over 4 years of $1.4 billion. Now, I understand, Mr Chairman, that it is galling for the members on the other side to sit there in the recognition that over 9 years they had one Minister of Education who destroyed all that was good about the system, and two who then fiddled around with absolutely no idea what it was all about. And what this budget does, Mr Chairman, for the children of New Zealand and for their parents is begins to redress that balance. This budget, Mr Chairman, this budget will increase by $155.9 million the operational funding of schools. And I invite, Mr Chairman, the next speaker from the other side to get up and tell this House when was the last time that a government granted that sort of increase to operational funding of schools. When was the last time? The extension of ultra-fast broadband into schools, $48.3 million. New funding for early childhood education. Now, we've heard all about early childhood education tonight. It is time the opposition parties stopped making up stories and started to explain it the way it really is. And I will tell you, Mr Chairman, where they can start. They can start by telling this House where, had they survived in government, which was never going to happen anyway, but had they survived in government, how were they going to pay for their promise of 100% fully trained staff? The money was not there, and it is wrong for that party and their Green mates to stand up in this House and claim otherwise. Early childhood education, a $1.3 billion government investment. An extra $107 million, an extra $107 million. The figure is worth repeating, Mr Chairman. It's worth repeating so that they, the side opposite, get it into their heads that this government has a greater commitment to early childhood education, as demonstrated in its budget, than that mob over there ever had. And I would suggest to certain members opposite that they stop trying to make their names by claiming to advocate for early childhood education and have a look at what the true situation is. There is another member opposite, Mr Chairman, who seems to be very, very keen to make his name in the tertiary sector. A $4.2 billion investment by this government in tertiary education. And yes, this government is asking for something back.